Hey, this is Renegade Gamer again. Got done covering the rest of the V3, exception of the PC thing, but that's because I really don't give a shit about the PC market, unfortunately. I don't play PC games. But anyway, Nintendo is something I do care about. So Nintendo had their showing. It was great. It was a very good conference. The only one that came close to it is Squaresoft itself, in my opinion. So it's a debate on which one of those won the E3 conference. In my opinion, if you're a gamer, you shouldn't really worry about that, but whatever. So anyway, let's talk about the conference itself. So Reggie retired, so he's no longer the presenter. Bowser, the guy's last name was literally Bowser. He's the presenter now. They also had one of the Japanese guys there, I forgot his name, also on stage. But anyway, most of it's just pre-recorded, and they just showed off a lot of games with some gameplay in it, so it's really good. The first thing they showed off was a new DLC character for Smash Brothers, being the hero from Dragon Quest XI, who also looks like he has some different skins from Dragon Quest 4, 8, and there was a third one, but I'm not sure who it was exactly. It may have been 5. It could have been the one from 5 as well. But yeah, that was showed off. That's coming out this summer. Later in the show, they also showed another DLC character coming out, which is Banjo-Tooie. He's coming out in the fall. So great, two characters that I like to play, or that I enjoy. And my daughter has a Switch, and she owns this game, so I look forward to going against her and playing this as one of the two characters. Where's my ashtray? There it is. The next thing we had up was Dragon Quest XI, the definitive edition. We saw this last night at the Square Enix conference. It's due out on September the 27th. I'm glad that the Switch is getting the Dragon Quest 11 game, because we need more Dragon Quest in our lives, as far as I'm concerned. They also showed this off later, I think. Hang on, let me check something. See, that's the real rundown. I'm almost certain they showed builders off too. DQ. I thought I remember seeing them. I must not wrote it down. I'm pretty certain I saw DQ builders as well being showed off. I might be wrong on that. The next game they focused on was Luigi's Mansion 3. This one was interesting. It's they have a co-op in this game. It all takes place in a mansion. The co-op is a form of Luigi called Gooigi. You and a friend can play through it. They have a lot of new ways to get the ghosts and everything else. Looked like a lot of fun. Might be. I wouldn't mind picking it up. The next thing that they had after that, that's due out in 2019. So if you're interested, I am. But the next thing they had, there was an old movie from the 1980s I've seen. It's not that bad. It was a Jim Henson movie called The Dark Crystal. This is been made into a game, kind of, but it's connected with Netflix for some reason. So I got a question mark here because they weren't really clarified out. It is coming on a PS4 with some connection to Netflix. I don't really understand it. It looks like a strategy RPG. So if you're in, it looked like it might be interesting, but it was a little confusing what the hell they had going on there. Next thing they showed was the remake of Zelda Link's Awakening. It looks like it's being done very well. You're going to be able to, from what it could tell, it looks like you're going to be able to make your very own dungeons, explore them, and go through the traps and everything that you set down. So that's due out on September the 20th. If you're a Legend of Zelda fan, woo. The next thing they showed after that was the Trails of Mana. That's the Squaresoft game from the Secret of Mana series. It looks good. It's supposed to be due out in early 2020. You can also pick up the collection of the Mana series right now, today, if you're interested, if you're a Switch owner. The next thing they showed was Witcher 3, which is due out some point this year. obviously, they had to cut down on some of the graphical fidelity on this to get it to work on Switch. But hey, if you like Witcher, you can play it on the go. I have that game, and I still haven't actually played it yet, so that's on my to-do list behind a lot of other things I'm working on. The next thing on the list, of course, is a new Fire Emblem game. It's Fire Emblem 3, the Three Houses. That's due out on July the 26th. So that's not too far off if you're into Fire Emblem. Strategy, permadeath game, RPG. The next thing it showed was Resident Evil. And when I say Resident Evil, I mean the Resident Evil remake from the early 2000s, which was a good remake. And that's going to be available now for you to play on the Switch, so you can play as you go. You can also play as 5 and 6. They're also supposed to come out as well. By the way, it was a very weird presentation they did on the Resident Evil thing. They had a couple of kids going and sneaking into a house and playing Resident Evil, and it was just kind of strange. I was like, what the hell are y'all doing? Next game was a Suda51 title. Suda51, of course, has made quite a few games in the past that are all quirky and really out there. My favorite is Lollipop Chainsaw, for those that don't know. But anyway, the game that they're coming out with is called No More Heroes 3. That's due out in 2020. It looks a lot of fun. Then they showed off a new Contra that was in 3D. Which was weird because I've never seen Contra in 2D. Every time I've ever seen it's always been 2D. Speaking of 2D, that collection is also available today if you're interested in a Contra collection. But yeah, the new 3D Contra is supposed to be out in 2020. Let's see, what's the next thing on my list here? They showed off a game called Demon Machina. This is due out on September the 13th. It looked like it's set in the future. I'm pretty sure I think this game's been out on for a while, but this is the first time I've actually seen it. It's a game that's kind of looked like it was set in the future, dealing with mechs. There was ground-based combat, and it looked like some mech combat as well. It might be interesting. It had kind of an anime kind of style to it. Then we had, this came out of blue, this next one, Panzer Dragoon, which if you've been around video gaming long enough and you know anything about obscure games, the Panzer Dragoon series has been kind of a dead series for a long time. This was interesting because it showed them flying the dragon around and everything else, and that comes out this winter. So hopefully we get more information before then. Pokemon Sword and Shield. That comes out November the 15th. They were discussing a little bit, but not a lot. It was supposed to be playable on the floor. Obviously, I'm in a truck, so I can't play them. But yeah, so that was something that was up there. Platinum Games got a new game that is showed off called Astral Chain. It looked really good. Looked like a lot of fun. It had it's Platinum Games. They're always good at doing combat systems. I have no clue what the story's about. It was just like a lot of nonsense talking to each other and everything else. There was really no cohesive narrative in the trailer, so I have no clue what was going on in it. But the combat looked really good. So next thing we had was a top-down. This looked like a top-down mafia game of some sort called Empire of Sin. It's due out on August 30th. The camera literally was shown from a top-down perspective instead of like a third-person or first-person perspective. So it might be interesting. The next one, this is a big one for me. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which is due out on July the 19th. Now, I played X-Men Legends, X-Men Legends 2. Those two games are some of my favorite games of all time. Marvel Ultimate Alliance, I really enjoyed. I thought it was very well done. I didn't care for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. But this is one I've been waiting on to come out for the better part of about 12 years. I think the last one that came out was in 2008. So I guess it's close to about 12 years. Actually, I guess about 11 years. Anyway, if you've never played a Marvel Ultimate Alliance game, it's a 4-player game that you run around with all your heroes. You can swap over to characters at any point in time. You can play with another person. They all have powers, and it's usually not the strongest of storylines, but it's just a lot of fun to play. It's a fun game. So looking forward to that when it comes out. Then we had Candace Hyrule, which looked like a Zelda-based action RPG. So that was something done. Then they showed off Mario and Sonic Olympics, which is due out this fall. Next after that, this next one was just a slew of games that came out. Spyro, Ni no Kuni 2, Doom Eternal, Wolfenstein, Dead by Daylight, Alien Isolation. Yeah, here it is. DB's Dragon Quest 2 Builders, Just Dance, Dauntless, and Mario Maker 2. So all those games are coming out. And I missed a couple of them that I actually showed because they were showing them so quickly. Those are the ones I was able to catch. The last two games I'm going to talk about here, they did a presentation of the new Animal Crossing, which is due out next March the 20th. You're on an island, and you're doing the Animal Crossing thing. You know, if you ever played Animal Crossing in the past, it's pretty much the same thing. But it's always been a lot of fun. You can raise garden, you can build a house, do tasks for other people and everything else. Basically, build a community. But yeah, that's due out on March 20th. I played the original; it was okay, but I never was a huge fan of the Animal Crossing. It's not a bad game at all. It just not my cup of tea, unfortunately. The last thing that they showed was probably the biggest surprise, or one of the biggest surprises there. They showed Zelda Breath of the Wild. They started showing scenes, and at first I thought this was DLC. It's not. This is a full-blown sequel that they are making to the Breath of the Wild game. Now, I haven't played Zelda Breath of the Wild, but I'm well aware of that many people enjoy Breath of the Wild quite a bit. So I can imagine that their excitement of a sequel to Breath of the Wild. It also looked like Ganon was back again, which is interesting because I thought he died in Breath of the Wild. But then again, he dies and comes back in every Zelda game, so whatever. But yeah, so that was a big thing. Overall, it was a great conference. There were quite a few surprises out of that mess. I didn't think what we'd see on the Switch. It was just overall, it was a lot. It was fun. It was fun to watch. So that's what I mean is that it's kind of hard not to say that Nintendo may have won E3 here. Honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think that you should just enjoy the games that we're getting, and if you're excited, great. If you're excited for whatever system you are, it's even better. But I do think the two best presentations at the E3 that I saw was definitely Nintendo and Square. So because Bethesda was fucking boring. Microsoft was okay. They didn't really blow me out of the water that much, but yeah, hey. Shit happens. But yeah, so overall, it was a blast. I enjoyed watching all the show. I enjoy reporting to y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed receiving all the information. So until the next time, I'll catch you later. My name is Renegade Gamer. See ya.